A beating heart, a symbol of life itself. To the untrained eye, this heart may look normal, but 40% of it isn't working. The owner of this heart is in the middle of a massive heart attack.
Pain was incredible. In the hospital, they kept on going on a level of 1 to 10, how bad is the pain? I'd say about a 40.
After a heart attack that big, Michael should be an invalid, his working life cut short before he even reached his 50th birthday. His remarkable recovery is thanks to a revolutionary therapy which helped bring his heart back to life, drawing on a substance that we use every second of every day: oxygen.
It would be very difficult to ever prove that he'd ever have any heart damage at all. It's dramatic. It's really not anything that we've seen before in our experience, and I think is an early testament to the promise that this treatment has.
That he had this procedure and that I was a candidate for it was pretty incredible.
Beaumont Hospital in Royal Oak, Michigan, is one of only a handful of centers around the world to try this radical new therapy. With the latest emergency care, 98% of people who suffer a heart attack will survive. But as many as half of those will have long-term heart damage, which will leave them short of breath and even unable to work. The challenge now facing heart doctors is to reduce that damage so patients can return to normal life.
So what we hope is that we will improve the tissue healing, especially in people with large heart attacks, because those patients, even if they make it out of the hospital, over the next 3 to 5 years are much more likely to die as opposed to patients that have very small heart attacks.
Michael never thought he'd have a heart attack. He first felt pain in his chest when he was shoveling snow, but he ignored it.
A few times I was woken up at night with a bit of pain, in my arms, so I'd take some aspirin and go back to sleep. Well, this was Sunday night at probably 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up and it was just massive pain in my left arm, pressure in the chest, pain radiating up to the jaw and around the back, and I realized potentially I was having a heart attack.
He was rushed to the hospital's specialist chest pain unit, where doctors did an angiogram. A liquid dye which shows up on an X-ray was injected through a catheter to show how the blood was flowing through Mike's heart.
This is a catheter inside Mike's heart during the heart attack, and this part of the heart is really contracting very, very well, but this portion down here is not contracting at all.
This is the root of all heart attacks, the coronary arteries. This web of blood vessels feeds the heart muscle. A blockage in one of these starves the heart of blood.
You can see that the artery is completely blocked off, and just a very, very small amount of dye is going into the artery itself.
The longer the artery remains blocked, the greater the risk of permanent damage to the heart muscle. In the operating theatre, Michael underwent an emergency procedure to clear blocked arteries. It's called angioplasty and uses a tiny balloon inflated inside the artery to reopen it. Through a small incision in the groin, the surgeon can feed a catheter up through the body to the affected artery. He uses X-ray images to guide the catheter to its target.
I'm at the totally occluded artery, so we're trying to get the wire to cross the blockage and pull back a little bit.
Angioplasty is a routine procedure, carried out on tens of thousands of people all over the world every year. It rapidly clears the blockage, but the heart muscle has been damaged by being deprived of blood and may not fully recover. To help that recovery, Michael's operation had an added extra: liquid oxygen.
Blood flow's been reestablished, then the small catheter with the liquid oxygen goes in. So that's at the end of the procedure, after the artery's open, we apply the liquid oxygen.
At the end of Michael's operation, when the clot had been cleared, another catheter was used to pump a solution loaded with oxygen directly to the damaged heart muscle. The catheter was connected to this machine, which uses dissolved oxygen in saline, to produce a solution which carries 7 times more oxygen than normal blood.
And that goes and bathes the injured tissue to enhance the healing process that's going to occur, to try to heal as much tissue as we can, and to try to prevent some of that injured tissue actually from dying.
The oxygen-rich solution gives immediate support to damaged tissue, where there is a poor blood supply. The increased levels of oxygen encourage greater blood flow, which assists the damaged tissue to rebuild itself. The principle is similar to hyperbaric oxygen therapy. A hyperbaric chamber is a pressurized room routinely used for divers suffering from the bends. But in recent years, doctors have found that a hyperbaric chamber filled with oxygen can help healing in patients suffering from burns and other forms of tissue damage.
The unfortunate thing is that a hyperbaric chamber is just not practical for us to use, when we're treating heart attack patients. So that's why we had to come up with an alternative method. And this solution is kind of like a mini hyperbaric chamber that goes right directly into the heart muscle itself. Mike, nice to see you.
Michael was one of the first patients to receive the treatment at Beaumont, and he's still having regular checkups.
Yeah, let me check your blood pressure here for a second, all right? Are you doing any kind of exercise?
Riding my bike.
Good.
Walking the dogs.
Regularly?
Yeah. You hadn't used that procedure. Would you expected a lot more damage to my heart?
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, I mean, that you didn't. But again, there was a very, very large portion of the front wall of the heart that wasn't contracting normally. Mm-hmm. And in most people, even though we get the artery open, there still is a lot of residual heart damage. That's why I'm really just absolutely thrilled with how much return of function you've had.
So far, the therapy's only been tried on 30 patients, but Dr. O'Neill is optimistic about its prospects.
We have really good clues based on the 30 patients that we do seem to improve heart muscle function significantly. If it's proven to be successful, then I think it can be widely applied anywhere that people are having emergency heart catheterizations for the treatment of heart attack.
It's still early days for this new therapy, but Michael, for one, is glad to get his life back.
I can't believe what it'd be like if I was an invalid, I'm not one of those persons who wants to hold on to life for, if the quality of life is diminished, just let me go, So yeah, I feel extremely lucky. Life is as normal as it was before, and everything works. Everything works normal, which is incredible.